Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. We are going to take a quick look at Forests Might. This is the mono green starter deck that they give you. This was actually my favorite. This is the deck I chose to play with when I was first getting started. Also the first one I upgraded, so I'll do an upgrade video on that here in just a little bit. But let's do a quick look at the deck, just how it comes. So you get 2 Llanowar Elves, 2 Druids of the Cowl. These are pretty good for mana ramp. A lot of expensive creatures in this deck, how it comes. So you're going to want to, if you get these in your opening hand, it's going to be a pretty good game. Greenwood Sentinel, a 2 casting 2/2 with Vigilance, pretty good attacker / defender. Highland Game, I would swap this out with something else down the road, but it ends up being kind of sticky because your opponent typically doesn't want you to gain that life when it dies. Plummets are highly necessary. This deck is susceptible to flying, so you destroy creatures with flying. You do get stuck with these against, like there's a lot of pretty popular Saproling decks right now, and none of them fly, so you'll end up getting stuck with these in your hand. Rabid Bite is super useful removal. It's the only removal green has, really, to get rid of a creature. So that's kind of nice. Now, if you're fighting somebody who's doing like creatureless or like card removal, some of the Dimir decks that you face this won't come in too handy. But for the starter decks, it kind of works out. Titanic Growth is a great combat juke / combo with Ghalta to make Ghalta huge. Verdant Rebirth is okay. It's kind of a neat like combat juke to return it back to your hand and give you some card advantage, but I'd yank it down the road. Blanchwood Armor is cool, especially for your, like if you got a turn 1 Llanowar Elf or turn 2 Druid of the Cowl, you can give them Blanchwood Armor for it's early beef, but again, if they remove the creature, you lose your Blanchwood Armor, so not my favorite card. Centaur Courser, just a 3 casting 3/3. That's it. Elvish Rejuvenator, again, this is mana ramp. So when Elvish Rejuvenator enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library, and you may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tap. So it doesn't go in your hand, it goes right into play, and it's tapped, and then the rest go on the bottom of your library. There's some cool room for upgrades and keeping Elvish Rejuvenator. Bristling Boar is neat for casting 4/3, and it can't be gang blocked, so it can only be blocked by 1 creature, so it's like the reverse of Menace. 1 Giganto, just to show you how big green creatures can be. It's a 5 casting 10/10. Actually, I like Gigantosaurus. I think it's got a place. Vigilant Baloth. This is actually a great card. It's a 5 casting 5/5 with Vigilance. It's an auto attacker every turn you attack, and then you wait. If you get this out on turn 4, potentially turn 3, if you get if you have a Llanowar Elf into a Druid, and then one of your Druids of the Cowl, that is, you could potentially get your Vigilant Baloth out on turn 3. So a very powerful turn 3 card. Aggressive Mammoth is awesome. Gives all your other creatures trample. That's a game ender. Prodigious Growth is a cool enchantment. If you get to the 6th turn and have this, and you drop it on a creature, a lot of times that ends the game. Meteor Golem comes in all 5 of the decks. Ghalta, Primal Hunger. This is a great card. You end up getting 2 of these. There's a green deck that you get, and I think they give you another Ghalta, so you'll end up with 2 as you play through the game. And this is a great creature because you can, if you get your turn 3 Baloth, this becomes like a 6 mana creature, and then like there's ways to get this out a lot sooner. It's pretty cool. So let's see how it plays. Of course, 25 Forest, just to avoid. This is land heavy, I think. Let's see how it plays. And while at the same time doing our quest, and with any luck, we can get some wins and get a pack or 2. And my quest for the day is to play 25 lands. So that'll take 5 games or so. However many lands you can play in a game. Don't forget to subscribe. It doesn't spam you or anything. It just will give you a little notification in the corner of YouTube when I upload a new video. Let's see what we got going on here. A Druid of the Cowl, a Centaur Courser, and a Titanic Growth. I'm gonna hang on to it. Let's see what we draw into here. And if you'll notice, a lot of the meta right now is not mono colors. I thought mono green Stompy would be the next best thing when Core 19 came out. But I was wrong. It is. Let's go with the Druid first. Just in case I draw like a Bristling Boar, I can play it on turn 3. He's got 2 islands down. And he's thinking about something. A spirit deck. Okay. Alright. I'll get behind that. Now he can't counter the next spell I play. He's probably got counter spells in there. He might also have bounce spells like Disperse. And if I put my Blanchwood Armor on my Druid, it would be a 4/6. Let's do it. He is not playing a starter deck. Supreme Phantom doesn't come in any starter decks, which is a neat. I have an idea for like a blue-white spirit control deck. I think it's got a place in there. Especially for 2 casting, 1/3 flying. Just that alone is awesome. Let alone all your other spirits get +1/+1. Powerful. Yeah. That's fine. So here we're going to see the power of the Rabid Bite. So, and it's a sorcery speed, so we can't juke it. You might hear that video. Sorry about that. And we'll swing in with the Druid of the Cowl. But you can try it down a little bit. Alright, so there goes his creatures. Now if he bounces my Druid of the Cowl, I'll be in some trouble because it's really not a very... There it goes. He just can't overcome it, so he leaves. Cool, that's 1. And this is the deck I chose to run with when I first started. Like when I... Actually, not when I was brand new to the game, but when when the reset happened late September, everybody got back to square one, and since I'm all free to play, I have to actually play with the cards I'm given, so this was the one I chose to go with, and also the one that I upgraded first, so I'll do my budget upgrades. And also, there's a big difference in a budget deck for the arena and a budget deck on paper Magic, because you can get uncommons for pennies. But uncommons in the arena are really hard to come by. Just because you got to get the wild cards, and having, you need 16 uncommon wild cards for a deck. It's just insurmountable. All right, let's see what we got. I like Greenwood Sentinel into Centaur Courser. I like this a lot. This is a pretty good starting hand. Might have to wait 5 turns to get the Baloth out, but it's still a pretty scary 2, 3, and 3 turn, depending on what our opponent does. This might be that. A Johnny's. No Johnny's. Okay. No Johnny's Welcome. No Johnny's Pride Mates. What's he got in there? I think Seal Away might trigger that. But he can't. He would have to tap my Sentinel to seal him away. A lot of people try and combat juke with Seal Away. When you attack, they'll cast Seal Away, but it won't trigger a Greenwood Sentinel because they don't tap to attack. Okay. I don't have a Titanic Growth this time, so let's attack and see what he does. He might have... He's got a card in there, and there's a 1 casting Moment of Triumph, I think is what it's called. He might Moment of Triumph this vampire and block and kill my Sentinel. No, he's just going to take it, and now we'll drop our own Centaur. It must be a Moment of Triumph. It wouldn't hold up priority like this. Unless he had the option to do something with that 1 white. Sometimes you can sort of feel out what they have based on how the computer stops the priority. Okay, we're gonna main turn Moment of Triumph. That's an interesting play. He is really trying to kill that. Okay, all right. And he may as well attack. I mean, he doesn't get anything by saving it for a blocker, does he? Yeah, buddy, let's go for it. Another Moment of Triumph. That's a lot of cards for 6 damage, so... Okay, we'll do another Courser and we'll swing for 3. And with any luck, we can pick up a land and we can drop our Baloth. If not, we'll go with a Highland Game, which is a weak 2-drop, but we'll do it. I wonder if this is that vampire deck that you get. It's called Eternal Thirst. I wonder if that's what he's playing. And he chose the tapped one. That's a bit of a misplay. You want to choose the untapped one so you can swing in for your damage. But he may have another trick up his sleeve. Might be new to the game. I don't know. I just noticed that these are the guild symbols on the playmat. There's Dimir, Boros, or Mentor. I don't know if it's Mentor or Boros. This is also the graphic for Surveil over the deck when you end up surveilling. It's kind of cool. Oh, okay, so we could do our Highland Game and then a Rabid Bite. So I like Rabid Bite. I continue to run Rabid Bite in my green decks. Unless there's some other type of removal, just because it's nice to clear the way for your big beefy creatures to attack. Very inspired by this cleric. There we go. And here we are. This is going to end the game for this guy. I don't think he's got anything to overcome that Baloth, unless he's happened to be holding a Murder or a Cast Down. But in either case, I'm still going to be able to attack him for potentially, that's 7 a turn. He won't let this guy stick around. That gets plummeted. And there's the Pride Mate. So he also did this backwards. He gained a life and could have put a counter on the Pride Mate, but he cast the Bloodletter first. The life gain from the Bloodletter will trigger the Pride Mate if it's down, so he just did that backwards. This must be a new player. That was a pretty simple one to get. Now if I draw mana, I Meteor Golem the Pride Mate. If I draw anything else, I can just cast it. And I've got a perpetual blocker here. Gosh, I think the right play here is to bite the Pride Mate, because he's pretty scary. He can get pretty scary. I should say he can get pretty scary. And this is just the mono green starter deck, how it comes out of the box. I just played it, and you can see it's actually pretty powerful. I'm not afraid of a 2/2 Paladin right now. I got a 5/5 blocker I can use whenever I want. I'm really not afraid of a 4/3. Especially now that I've got the land for this. I can golem it. Now he has to block with his Paladin, so he loses his Paladin this turn, and he's going to have to draw something pretty amazing. I wonder if he's got Settle the Wreckage in there. Yeah, 2 for 2. And this is actually increasing my rating too, which is kind of cool. We'll do one more, I mean, just to kind of show you guys the deck. So you can see a couple different ways to win already, where I put the Blanchwood Armor on my Druid of the Cowl after saying I don't like Blanchwood Armor all that much. But it can win you some games, you know, especially if there's not a whole lot of removal that you're facing early on. This is slow. I'm going to mulligan this. I've played this deck enough to know that when you get a slow start like this, it's hard to overcome, so let's mulligan that. I don't want to go down to 5. I'll take that happily. I may use Verdant Rebirth just to draw a card. Oh, and also a green deck I'm playing. So if this green deck is modified, we could be in some trouble. Might be the same one. We might be okay. I still have no play. These 1, 2, and 3 turns with no play are tough to overcome. I'm not gonna do anything. This can be scary. Always kill the Llanowar Elves if you can. Never let your opponent get away with that. But we have no choice. Just watch this happen. Holding priority for something. He must have a Rabid Bite. No, Rabid Bite's a sorcery speed. He's got a Titanic Growth. So he's going to hope for me to block, which I'm not going to do. Unless I get my Highland Game down there, I'll block on the Highland Game. And now he's going to combat juke me in kind, which is what you do. Let's see if I can force him to use it. Maybe I can. Rabid Bite this guy to this guy. Just for fun. Of course, I might even swap that out with like Prey Upon or something like that in the real world. And then I could prey upon my Centaur because they end up fighting. So he doesn't do it. Let's see what he's got. I think he's got it. I think this is going to end up badly for my Centaur Courser. He doesn't block, so maybe he doesn't have, or maybe he has a different plan for it. A lot of times they'll slap it on Ghalta and end the game real quick that way. I do have a Verdant Rebirth I could use as a combat juke of my own, but I don't know if I can do that just yet. Okay, so now I have some options here with my mana base. It's holding priority when I cast a spell. That's new for me. I haven't seen that yet. And that's an instant, so I can do this in response to a spell or ability or block or something like that. Draw a card, save my creature, all that good stuff. Unless he just doesn't block. This is getting interesting. Kinda lost about what he's got. He's got 5 cards in his hand, a Llanowar Elves down, and he's just playing nothing but forests. Bristling Boar. Is he going to attack? He's going to Rabid Bite. I'm going to save it. Then draw a card on his turn. That's kind of nice. I'm going to get my Centaur back. And then I draw a card. No, get attacked. Magic is easy. Just draw the Rabid Bites you need and then end the game. Okay. So I like this deck. I do. I think this is one of the more... I don't want to say better, because I think there's a few good decks. I did particularly well with the Tactical Assault, the white deck. But at the same time, this is one where you can actually legitimately score some wins. I'm going to do a Rejuvenator, drop a land, and make him think this is all I have. And then we're going to attack, he's going to block, and then I'm going to Rabid Bite with one of my other creatures. So I gain the health. Okay, so he thinks I've got like a Titanic Growth or something. I don't. So now I'm going to Rabid Bite. Again, I would run 4 of these just because creatures are everywhere right now. And now he's got to come up with something pretty amazing. It's not going to be a flyer. Like I said, you get stuck with plummets from time to time. There you go. 3 for 3. Cool, so that's the mono green Forests Might. I think this deck is actually named. It's not bad. You know, can't go wrong with big creatures that you can get out there with some... I didn't even get a ramp card to play. But it can be done. Those 3 wins didn't even complete my quest, so I'll keep working on it. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.